Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Norhannah Otical,
And I am Lady Johainee di Maampaw Banocag.
and our topic for today is all about speech community and Diglossia. But first, let us define what is speech community. When we say speech, it is a communication and ability to speak. And when we say community, it is a group of people that live in the same area. So when we say speech community, it is a group of people that share the same language or dialect or even speech characteristics. So speech communities share specific set of norms for language use. Through interacting together, and speech communities may therefore emerge among all groups that interact frequently and share certain norms and ideology. So such groups can be country, villages, professional or political communities, or a community that share the same interest, lifestyle, and hobby. Or it can be just a group of friends. So speech community is a group of speakers who share a language and a pattern of language use. Therefore, the meaning of speech community is a group of people who speak the same language and share the same dialect, words, and grammar rules of a language as a standard. So there are characteristics of a speech community. So speech community must share the same language or dialect, and they may, the members of a group must interact linguistically with the other members of the society, and they may share similar attitudes towards a linguistic norms. So in a speech community, there is a monolingual, bilingual, and multilingual. Monolingual, people who speak only one language. Bilingual, people who speak two languages. And multilingual are the people who speak two or more languages. So in a speech community, we will discuss the intersecting community and networks and repertoire. So first, let's discuss what is intersecting community. So an intersecting community is an individuals who belongs to a various speech community at the same time. So, but on any particular occasion, will identify with only one of them. So, for example, in a group of people, there is Ilocano, Cebuano, Kapampangan, Bisaya, Maranao. So, they have their own different speech communities that they belong to. So, in order for them to understand each other and to communicate to one another, they need to use another language, which is the Filipino or the Tagalog language, for them to communicate. Each person speaks their own typical way of speaking according to their place of origin or their specific speech community. So we need to use a language that is appropriate to the people you're talking to. So the next part that we are going to discuss is network. So network is another way of viewing how an individual relates to the other individual in a society. So there are three types of network according to Wardell 2006. So the first type is dense network, second type is loose network, and the third type is the multiplex network. So first, let's discuss the dense network. Dense network is a strong network that happens when the people you know is interacting, and those people is also interacting to each other. So an example of this is a group of friends who is interacting to one another. So they have a strong connections or network to each other. Next one is the loose network. So loose network happens when the people you interact with do not interact with each other. For example, person A knows person B, C, and D. So the person A knows don't interact with one another unless they're communicating or interacting with person A. The third one is multiplex network. Multiplex network happens when the people are tied together in more than one way. For example, is a person A and B has a family business and they're also siblings. So they are connected with one another in more than one way. The next part that we will discuss is the repertoire. So repertoire it is used for all language and varieties that known and used by the speaker in his or her sociality, work, or daily activity. According to Platt, repertoire is the range of linguistic variety which the speaker has at his or her disposal and which she or he may appropriately use a member of his or her speech community. Repertoire is a totality of a linguistic form employed in a socially significant interaction. So there are two types of repertoire. First repertoire is verbal repertoire and the second is the speech repertoire. Verbal repertoire is a set of language variety that is used in speaking and writing practices of a speech community. So the verbal repertoire of an individual can be determined by these language varieties that he or she knows and uses within her or his speech community. The second one is speech repertoire. It is a linguistic variety that is used by a speech community.
Now, I'm going to be discussing about diglossia. Let's begin by taking a look at the etymology of diglossia. Diglossia comes from the Greek word diglossos, meaning bilingual or to speak two languages. The term was first used in English in 1959 by linguist Charles Ferguson. In social linguistics, diglossia is a situation in which two distinct varieties of a language are spoken within the same speech community. In other words, it is a situation in which a community uses two different languages or two significantly different varieties of one language for different situations. The way it typically works is that one language or dialect is used for a casual everyday interaction and then a different standard language is used for more official formal purposes. Do not be confused when dealing with the words dialect and language. A dialect is a particular language variety used by a specific group of people who are often connected by social factors such as region, gender, age, ethnicity, or job. A dialect may not be understood by others. An example of a dialect is the Southern British English, which differs from other regional dialects in the UK. On the other hand, a language is a method of communication used by a particular country or region. It consists of sounds, written words, and grammar. Examples of languages include English, Spanish, and Urdu. The languages or dialects that are used in diglossic communities are used for different purposes and can be labeled in two ways, namely, the high variety and the low variety. High variety refers to the language variety used in formal or professional settings such as in education, politics, and the mass media. It is the language that is learned at school formally. Its speakers learn how to write in that language and they learn the formal grammar rules of that language. In many cases, the community considers the high variety to be pure or correct form of language, and they want to keep it the same and not let it change. The low variety, on the other hand, is used in everyday conversations and is spoken in more informal settings such as at home and with family or friends, meaning that it is not formally learned and its speakers don't formally learn grammar or writing because it's merely learned as a spoken language. The low variety is more flexible and it's more likely to change over time because it's not restricted by the rules of the high variety. Alongside standard diglossia, there is another type called bilingual diglossia. This occurs when one language variety is used for writing and the other is used for speaking. When Charles Ferguson first wrote about the term diglossia, he introduced a few common examples of diglossic languages such as Arabic, Swiss German, Haitian, and Greek. Let's take a look at this in more detail. In Arabic-speaking communities, many people use both Classical Arabic and Egyptian Arabic. Classical Arabic is the high variety, so it is seen as the standard language. It is not used in everyday conversation, but instead, it is reserved for official and academic purposes. Egyptian Arabic is the most widely used Arabic dialect. It is regarded as the low variety, so is used in daily life. In the German-speaking part of Switzerland, many people use both Standard German and Swiss German. Standard German is the high variety and is mostly used in written communication, whereas Swiss German is the low variety and is predominantly used in spoken conversations. In Haiti, many people use both Standard French and Haitian Creole. Standard French is regarded as the high variety and is more grammatically complex. It is used predominantly in formal written communication and informal speech when necessary. Haitian Creole, which is a French dialect, is the low variety and is used in daily conversations. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Catarivosa Greek and Demotic Greek were used by most Greeks. Catarivosa Greek was the high variety and was used in formal situations. Demotic Greek was the low variety and was used in more colloquial settings. In the present day, these two Greek language varieties are now either not commonly used or are no longer in use. Catarivosa Greek tends to be reserved for official purposes in the Church of Greece and other Greek Orthodox churches. Demotic Greek was an earlier form of modern Greek. It was made the official language of Greece in 1976 and evolved over time into what is now known as Standard Modern Greek. Now the question is, are diglossia and bilingualism the same thing? Some people, including Ferguson himself, would describe diglossia as a type of bilingualism, as both involve the use of more than one language. However, it could be argued that they are not the same. Let's consider these potential differences between them both. Diglossia tends to place more focus on a community of people who all use two languages or dialects. On the other hand, bilingualism can be used to describe individuals who know two languages, usually fluently. A bilingual person does not necessarily have to come from a bilingual family or community. They could pick up another language from elsewhere, such as in school or from working abroad.